Until Dawn is a brand new interactive survival horror game by Supermassive Games, whose previous works includes Killzone HD and Little Big Planet. And as we all know, when it comes to interactive games, Telltale is pretty much killing it right now with audio games. So it was definitely quite a challenge for Supermassive Games to suddenly decide to go into this genre and do something new, especially when it comes to horror. And I have to say, they pulled it off pretty well. The story of Until Dawn is pretty simple. 8 friends go and stay at a cabin at a mountainside and they get trapped, and there's a killer on the loose out to get them. So nothing special about the story. But what I really liked about this game was how you could just stop all these characters from doing all the cliched stuff that you see in horror films. Like, for example, tripping over stairs when you've been chased by a bad guy. It's like you can stop that now. You just press the right buttons and they actually run away properly. No tripping. Another thing that I really liked was the thing known as the butterfly effect, in which any choice or decision that the player made was going to have an unforeseen consequence later on in the game, and it would always pop up in the corner anytime you made that decision, so you know that, okay, now you're prepared to pay the consequences. And it could either have been good or bad consequences depending on what your character did. It has a solid cast, you know, such as Peter Stormare, who's from Prison Break, Hayden Panettiere, Rami Malek from Need for Speed, and Brett Dalton from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The story was also better than I expected. I mean, it is pretty predictable. I pretty much figured out who the killer was right from the start. Like, the moment I saw that character, I knew, okay, that's definitely the killer. However, the way the story then went, the direction of the story just kind of pretty interesting. Like I said, I won't say too much, but it definitely wasn't what I expected, and I'm sure a lot of people didn't expect the story to suddenly go in that direction. And I felt that was a good thing, you know. It kept me again pretty hooked. And I also like how you can see the characteristics of all these characters, like in the menu, for each character that you're playing as, it shows all the characteristics and all the relationships with all these other characters. And I really like that, because like now, if you start the game and certain characters are athletic, like confident, you can try and take that on and use that as your advantage in the game, or you can just decide to change it completely, start making them nervous, making them not to want to do anything. And that was pretty cool. However, despite these few positives, there's always got to be a negative. For the build up to this game, you know, they were all saying in the press release that there were hundreds of endings, hundreds of different paths to take, this and that, but it didn't really feel like it. Like now, for example, the ending will always be the same, because certain characters won't die until a certain point, and they won't be able to die until a certain point in the game. And for that kind of took away the whole control the fate of these characters, because I didn't really feel like I was controlling them, as they wouldn't die if I wanted them to die. Certain characters I was like, okay, you can just die now, and even if I purposely pressed the wrong button, they wouldn't die, they would somehow still escape, and I didn't like that. Now Heavy Rain, which came out on PS3, that had 22 different endings, 22 different endings, and they weren't the same. And any of these characters could have been killed at any point. I remember the last time I played it, one of the characters I got killed literally right at the start of the game, and she was supposed to have survived up until the end, and I killed her right at the start, and of course that affected the game majorly. So I thought that was going to be the same with Until Dawn, but it wasn't. Also, like, the camera work as well, it can get quite annoying at times. Like, it's trying so hard to be like an interactive movie that it forgets that it's still a game. So for example, if you're like walking towards a building and you have to go around the building, rather than the camera following you, it would just stay there. And then you're there walking straight into a wall, and you're like, and you realize your character doesn't seem to be going anywhere, but you can't see what's happening because the camera isn't following you around, and that can get pretty annoying. Despite all this, it's still a solid game, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who has a PS4. If you love horror films, you definitely have to get it. It's brilliant. It's a solid game, good graphics, solid acting, great, well, cliched characters, decent story, and there's still a lot of other mysteries that are still unsolved. Like when I remember when playing the game the first time, I still hadn't like solved all the mysteries yet. Like there was still certain aspects, like certain stories, like subplots during the game that I still hadn't discovered and I still hadn't completed. It's definitely a good way for you to go back, keep playing the game, trying to solve all these other small mysteries within the game. I'm gonna give Until Dawn a 7.5 out of 10. If you guys like the video, subscribe, click like, and I'm gonna see you guys very soon.
When you're thinking, damn, what is this? That's us. Make it speakers bam when it hits like what? Give it summer jams with that west side stuff. Everybody hands in the air straight up. Put them to the sky so high.